Hey guys, welcome back to Salts and Roses. Today I'm going to talk about 4 quote-unquote healthy foods for breakfast that you should avoid, limit, or replace with a better option. If you guys don't know me yet, my name is Ashley, and the reason that I started this channel is because I've made a lot of changes in my life in the last 2 years. I've lost weight, I've become more healthy and athletic and fit, and I want to show you how I got there. This specific video came about because I posted something on TikTok that said 4 healthy foods that you should avoid, and it was received with mixed responses. Because the way that advertising works, I actually work in advertising, obviously so many messages are sent to us as consumers that different items are healthy, right? So today I'm going to talk about a couple of those and how you can replace those items with something more healthy. And in general, I believe in balance. You know, if you're sticking to a very strict diet, I think you're going to get burned out. So if you want to indulge in some of these things sometimes, or if it's working for you and you're completely healthy and happy, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you're struggling with your weight and you're maybe not sure what the best thing is to eat for breakfast, I'm going to walk through a couple of things that you should maybe avoid and how you can replace them. First up, we have granola, and this one probably surprises you because it is marketed to you so heavily that it's a healthy option to add on to things or to snack on or use as a breakfast option. But you'll be shocked to see on this label that in 2/3 of a cup, and be honest, are you really only eating 2/3 of a cup? There is 47 grams of carbs in this. There are 13 grams of sugar, 10 of those are added sugar. So that means it's not coming from a natural sweetener like a fruit or anything like that. That is an additional added sugar that's being layered on. And the third ingredient, which is something that you always want to watch out for when you're looking at these food labels, is what are my first 3 ingredients, because those are the key things that are within that item. So the third ingredient here is sugar. So if you compare this, say, to a candy bar, granola makes up more than half of the sugar that you would find in a candy bar. So I would say that you do not want to opt in for a breakfast option that is loaded with this much added sugar, because what that does is it spikes your insulin levels and then also your blood sugar, and then when your blood sugar drops, you get more hungry, so you're not staying as full, and then you tend to eat another carb heavy meal. And that can increase weight gain. So instead, what I would suggest that you have is, if you absolutely have to do the granola, you can make something at home. There's a recipe here that I have, and then I can also put that below for you if you want to check that out. But in general, especially if you're struggling with your weight, I would suggest to just nix the granola as a whole and opt in for a high protein Greek yogurt with real fruit instead. Or if you want to make because this is something to get on the go, right? So another really great option is an egg muffin. So actual eggs, not like a sweet muffin. So you can put all kinds of different ingredients in there. I can also post that for you so that you can see what that is. And with that, let's move on to what our next healthy food is. Let's talk cereal. So for the most part, I think maybe people understand that super sugary cereals are not the healthiest option, but then there are all these different brands that tell you they're all natural, they're whole wheat, they're this, they're that. So let's look at what cereal really is here, and that is, even in those natural brands, you're gonna find added sugar for the most part. It is still a very heavily processed food that's full of carbs. And when you look at how cereal is actually made, it is loaded with genetically modified ingredients. So that is something right away that you want to try to avoid. You always want to try to eat as clean as possible, and that means real fresh fruit and vegetables. If you're going to go for whole grain, make sure they're actually whole grained. So for example, cereal is stripped of its nutrients through a process called extrusion. And this means that they grind up the grains, they soak them in water, and then they put it through an extruder. And this process brings out all these little like poppy cute little shapes, but in the process of doing that, it removes and strips all nutrients. And then on top of that, they soak it with sugar and salt and other materials so that it has that crispy, crunchy flavor. So right away, we're seeing this is heavily processed, it's full of sugar, carbohydrates, and it's missing the whole grains or the oats that if you want to go that route, you would want to do a different option than cereal. What I would suggest that you replace cereal with, again, one of my all-time go-tos is a Greek yogurt, especially if you prefer that sweeter type of breakfast. So 17 grams of protein, add as much fruit as you want, try to limit any sort of refined sugars. So if you want to do a little bit of honey, that's fine, but make sure that you're looking at those portions and keeping those under control. And then of course you can add things like raw almonds or nut mix to give you that crunch. And this is a much, much healthier option to start your breakfast and your day. And it'll keep you satiated, it'll give you protein to help you burn fat and gain muscle. Next up, we have granola bars. So sugar is the culprit again. This is a highly processed food and it has tons of extra sugar. It's loaded with carbohydrates, so we're gonna get that same insulin and blood sugar spike. You're gonna get hungry faster and you're gonna wanna eat more sooner. So with this, you're also gonna find artificial flavors, seasonings, salt, you name it. So for this specific option, if you really want that snack on the go and you want to have some type of granola bar, I would definitely suggest that you make them at home, because store-bought options really are loaded with all those things we just talked about. And there are lots of recipes that you can modify to your dietary needs so that you're not loading it with tons of sugar, you're getting real whole grains, you're adding in nuts for more protein, and having a nice healthy snack on the go. Okay, now this next one is what really got people up in arms on TikTok, and that is oatmeal. And I understand why, because we have been told our whole lives that oatmeal is super healthy for you. It's full of fiber and nutrients and all these things. I specifically want to put more of a focus today on instant oatmeal, although in general, I would not recommend having oatmeal every day for breakfast if you're trying to gain muscle, burn fat, lose weight. It's just not the best option for you. But specifically with instant oatmeal, we're gonna find tons and tons of extra added sugar. So here's another label for you to look at from a popular brand. This has 12 grams sugar in it and 32 grams carbs. And if you actually look at the ingredients again, here at the bottom, you're gonna find that the second ingredient is sugar. And then the next after that is artificial flavors. So this is just a red flag all the way around. You wanna avoid foods that look like this when you're looking at your labels. But from a more general stance of why I say not to choose oatmeal over another breakfast is because, just like with various other grains, the main problem here is that spike in blood sugar, and it makes you get hungry sooner. It's not going to keep you as full, give you as much protein. So I would suggest doing something different. But again, if you really love your oats, they make you feel good, you're happy about them, I would definitely tell you that if you are prone to having oats for breakfast, that you should opt in for steel cut oats over instant oats. Make sure that you're making them at home, you're not adding a ton of sugar. And that's the other problem with oatmeal in general, is that it tends to be a base that we add butter, cream, sugar, you name it. We load it with sweet toppings. So it's just kind of a danger zone, as it starts maybe as somewhat healthy of a base and then we just layer and layer and layer on. So if you do opt in for the oats, do the steel cut oats, limit the sugar that you add, instead adding some fruit or other natural ingredients instead. And what I would say in general that you should replace your oatmeal with is eggs. So whether that's a mix of eggs and egg whites, that's usually what I do so that I'm not getting tons of cholesterol. But eggs are so good for you. They are filled with protein and they really keep you full through the morning. They give you tons of energy. You're not gonna have that sugar crash like you are with other meals. And you can add, there's so many recipes for eggs, right? So we could do veggies in it. We can add, you know, if you want to add a little cheese here and there, there are so many recipes, and I'll place a few down below as to what I opt in for my breakfast. I kind of switch it up, but eggs are always a good choice. And I want to say thank you for checking out this video, and I hope that this all makes sense to you. If you have questions or, you know, specific things that you want to ask me about for breakfast items, or what it is that your go-to is, please feel free to comment below. I want to hear from you, and we'll see you on the next Salts and Roses.